let's get into the video because I'm very curious to know what is like all this buzz about. AFK farming, a blessing of a curse. So from Mo.
I am going to do something which I've never done before, which is just to simply farm while I'm recording this video. So right now I've just entered a Terra Rift, and as you can see the time has just started. So 11 minutes now, and you can see here that I haven't really been.
I like that he said that I'm just gonna be farming, you know, like I never did it before. Okay, bro.
Playing. I'm at 2 gems today, and actually I think I'm at like 36 gems because it's been stacking up for 3 days. And basically right now I have the double event, which is the Wind of Fortune. I can't scroll down to show it. Maybe if I go to the events tab here, I could show you guys. So the Wind of Fortune is active. I've got it 17 hours, 18 hours remaining here. And as you can see, I'm playing a Necro build, and I haven't really pressed any of my skills. Actually, I'm going to press the skills once here just to spawn the Golem. So you'll notice something that I'm not really pressing any skills or even pressing my primary attack at all. So what I'm using here is the AFK build, which Loreth UK has featured on his channel. He's a great content creator, by the way, and you guys should definitely check.
Throwing Laurent under the bus, boys. No, I'm joking. Laurent is great. I mean, like guys, if you do AFK farming guides, how to do it or not, it is absolutely fine. Okay, there is so many people. Like, look at here, 22,000 people are looking for this content. Okay. So many people will want to check this out, but I know that the other side, they do not like whenever you see, you know, YouTubers or the creators going and promoting it. But I don't think like it, I mean, in a way it is promoting it because you're making a video about it, but I don't think it is a big deal. I just don't.
Check him out, especially if you play Necro. So you can see here from the party chat, I'm gaining so many normal gems doing this. And I believe that this is the fastest way to actually gain normal gems is by playing Terra Rift. So normally you're actually running around while doing Terra Rift. You can see that my teammates here are like moving around, but right now I'm not moving around at all. I'm just standing completely still. As far as how this build goes, I'll quickly go over it. You can definitely watch the video on Laura's channel, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I'm using bone armor.
Yeah, so I want to clarify here one thing, because I see like this hot take that is very annoying that, you know, AFK farm, it is illegal. So AFK farm, it is not illegal. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean that is illegal. Okay. The only thing that is illegal, it is if you are abusing any auto clicker, if you're using a bot, if you're using a macro, or if you're using like those macros here for the mouse, anything like that will definitely get you in trouble. Anything else that you are just you know, using in-game mechanics that they are not exploits and they are not bugs and they are working as intended, and you are able to still go and AFK farm, it is actually under this terms of service of use. And I saw today a post that someone was saying that, you know, abusing in-game mechanics for these, it is illegal. It is not. Okay, you cannot get banned for these as long as you're using, you know, the in-game mechanics. And I also feel like it is not up to the player or up to the creators to change this. There's only one responsible, and this responsible, it is Blizzard. Those are the ones that made this happen because they created, you know, instances like the Golem that and made like you know, and with the scaling of the game, it will allow you to actually just like AFK farm. Like, you also have like multiple legendary gems that will allow you to pretty much just, you know, AFK farm. And because of this, everyone can. It's not only Necro that can do this. Every class can. There are ways to make it happen. It's just like Necro, it is the best.
I'll quickly explain it, but for
so it's showing the build. Like, most of people already know what is the build. So it's probably gonna explain here the open world versus the Terra Rift. It's gonna show here the spots in the world, but I'm just like curious about his opinion regarding the AFK farming.
Honestly, for me, I will say that I'm not really the biggest fan of AFK farming.
Okay.
But at the same time, I do understand that it is part of the game.
Yeah.
And it's here to stay. It's not going to change as far as I understand.
Nope.
And
it's not gonna change unless Blizzard change, but all the changes that Blizzard implemented in the game over this past year, I don't know before that, over this past year, they made sure that it is easier than ever for anyone to actually AFK farm, and that's why now there is like this plague of like AFK farmers everywhere, because it is so easy. Before, it was, you know, some people used to do it, but it was not as common as it is right now. I feel like the more we talk about this, the more popularized it gets, you know, the more, you know, people get mad at it, the more people will actually, you know, get to know, oh, you actually can, you know, like, so you go on the Reddit and say, oh my God, AFK farming sucks. For 10 people that will say, yeah, true, man, AFK farm sucks, maybe 100 people will be like newbies, you know, because newbies go to these subreddits and these things, and they're like, oh, wait a minute, can you AFK farm? Holy moly! You know, so then they go on YouTube and they're gonna search, okay, Necromancer AFK build. And this is what you have to realize, the more there are always like these two sides. The more you focus in one subject, it can be actually good in one ways, especially if it's something like super detrimental. But on the other side, you're giving more exposure, so more people will get to know about the, you know, how to do it, and they will start do it.
And my intention with this video isn't really to nerf it. In fact, I would actually go so far as to say the developers should actually add this for all classes, because it's not really fair in my opinion. Like, a lot of the classes don't have these passive skills. I'm not sure if there's a way for them to elegantly introduce kind of essence that give you like passive abilities or something.
So you see what this Mo is saying? I think that above all, this is what really people are mad at. It's not really because you have AFK farmers on your bounty spots, which maybe like also it can be slightly annoying, but I definitely feel that a lot of people are jealous of Necromancer, because Necromancer can do this and my class cannot do it, even if he can't, but not as efficient. But my class cannot AFK farm as well as this. So I feel like it is definitely one of the biggest cause for these frictions. People get so, you know, jealous of the other classes that is crazy. It doesn't matter what it is. If a class is OP, you know, when Barb was OP in Battleground, you always had like people complaining about it. Whenever like this other class, it is doing something that is others not, they are gonna complain about, because this class is doing this and my class cannot do that. It's always the same thing. It's crazy.
Like that, but they definitely should do it, because Necro right now has the advantage, and it shows in the stats that Necro is the most popular and most played class currently, and I believe that is because of this build here, just because people
because
right
of AFK farm,
they're in between difficulties and there's not really any updates.
Necro in general, it is a class that in any game that you play, it is always popular. But on top of that, Necromancer here has the ability of AFK farm, which is very friendly for new players, or also these bot farmers and these alt farmers that most of them, they just run with Necromancers, because it allows them to have like multiple, like, you know, blue stacks and all these things, and they are running like fucking like 20 Diablo Immortals at the same time. Like, you know, that's what they do, and they run at the same time, and most of them are always like these Necromancers. And the reason is because they actually don't need to play it. They just put like the class, and no wonder Necromancer is the most popular class. I will say that even if you remove all the AFK farmers and bots and all these things, most likely Necromancer is still at the top 3, at least, together with the Tempest, and most likely with the Barb or the Crusader.
The game, so they're just kind of in maintenance mode, just farming along, whether that be in the open world or through Terra Rifts, whatever it may be. But as you can see here, I'm gaining a lot of rewards, not only gems, but also legendary items doing this, so this is really good to see. So unfortunately here, there's no waypoint near.
But on Terra Rifts, you can only do 10 at a time. Like, the OP part, it is that you can also do this in the open world, right? You leave it in the open world, you're farming those monster ancestors, you're farming gold, you're also farming like multiple, especially on the instance farming, that like Necromancer is the easiest class to farm ancestors for a reason.
Near me, so I'm gonna just teleport manually. The other good thing is that while you're teleporting, your summons will actually keep hitting the mobs, so normally your teleport won't get interrupted using this build, which is really good. So about 90 seconds left on the clock. I should be fine, hopefully. Hopefully I have enough time to do this. So normally I don't record my gameplay while I'm recording videos, but I thought this would be a good opportunity to show you guys kind of the power of Necro. But like I said, I would really like to see this for other classes, because right now, as far as I understand, you can actually do some kind of AFK farming for other classes, but only using primary attack. I believe if you do something like double tap on your screen on the primary attack, only if you're playing on phone, you can actually...
No, you can use it with a primary attack, or also you can put, like, for example, Nettled and 6 pieces V2s, and whenever you put yourself in the middle of the mobs, whenever the mobs attack you, you're gonna pop the shield, you know, like 2 pieces Montebanks, 2 pieces, 6 pieces V2s. The multibanks will cause the nettle is going to reflect the damage is going to proc, you know, storm volts, it's going to proc the void. So it is, you actually can do it with pretty much any class as long as you use that. But again, it is not as efficient because you're not actively attacking, or you don't have some summons. So I actually don't think, and I'm gonna try to give you an example. I don't think it is actually a good idea to bring AFK farming for every class. Because once again, if you bring to every class, it's gonna lose the identity of the class. It's gonna lose the reason to actually sometimes go to become a necromancer. It's the same thing that what if, like Barbarian has this Undying Rage, and so I also want my class to have an Undying Rage, because why not? You know, like Barbarian has it, it's part of his identity, it makes part and it makes sense around his whole, you know, skills in the class identity. So whenever they messed up with it, you know, and they nerfed the Undying Rage, they actually messed a lot with the, you know, what is a Barbarian inside the battleground. So right now, Barbarian, it is in a rough spot. So one of the things whenever I used to play World of Warcraft Classic, you know, Burning Crusade, and then Wrath of the Lich King, was that you had like multiple classes inside the game, and each class had its own, you know, job. It had like Mage could like do the polymorph, which is like makes like the guy like a sheep. You had, for example, the Warlock, which is like the Necromancer called Feared. It was the only class called Feared. You also had like the Warrior called Tank, and you had like also can do the Feared with the Roar. But there was clear identities for each and individual class, which made you give you a purpose of playing the class. Fast forward like 10 years. Now you go into World of Warcraft, every class does the same thing. Every class has dashes, every class has interrupts, every class has CC, every class has a heal. So it's just like they do the same thing, it's just like they do it slightly different. And I feel like it lost the purpose and of like what is classes, or what is classes identity. So I will actually highly advise Blizzard to not bring AFK farm to any other class, and if anything, remove it, but please do not give it to everyone. I feel like giving it to everyone will cause even more harm. But I could say, and I could see a world that Druid is gonna, like Cloud is saying in the chat, maybe another class that will be able to AFK farm, because it's gonna also have pets. We just don't know if the pets are gonna be temporary or not. But if they are not, you will be able to. You know, the pets, the wolves will be able to attack. So, yeah, crazy times, man.
You can actually spam your primary attack, and that will be fine. But the problem is that does nowhere near as much damage as a build like this.
Yeah, exactly, Rex. Like, they need to give some downsides and upsides, right? Because if every class does exactly the same thing, like, why would you play any other class, you know? Imagine if now, like, you have a class like Wizard that also has Undying Rage as a bubble and can AFK farm. Like, why would you play any other class whenever you have a class that only has upsides? That was one of the problems with the Barbarian. By the way, the only problem with the Barbarian talking about the Undying nerf was not the problem was never the Undying rage. The problem was that the Ota build, the hammer in PvP, you were a big fucking tank, you could heal yourself because you were doing insane amount of damage, and not only that, you could push the idol and you could kill everyone. So there was only upsides to play that class in PvP, and that's why everyone was playing that class. You had the chance to grab, it didn't matter if you were the melee, so everyone was abusing. So this is what happens. This is what happens. And that's why some things become broken. It's whenever, you know, you have survivability, you have crowd control, you have damage, and everything is just like top hand. There's no downsides. The downside of a wizard, for example, or the demon hunter is like, okay, you have all this high damage output, but then you're gonna be squishy, right? The problem with Tempest for a very long time is that you had high damage and you also had high survivability. So over the months, they try to, you know, keep up with the damage, but reducing a bit step by step the survivability. It is still pretty, you know, I think like with all the dashes, the mobility and the shields, it is still very strong. But I feel like right now, Tempest, I could say it is in a good place.
And unfortunately, you won't be able to stay alive as well just doing your primary attacks. So
yeah, Blood Knight
some
can
players
farm
have
as well.
resorted to actually using some third-party programs to press their skills for them.
It's like the problem like with the Blood Knight is like they can farm, but it is a bit more complex, you know? So you have to have like this self-regen ancestors and runes, and like it's very easy still, don't get me wrong, but there is like just like a small thing that you have to tweak to actually make it like 100% uptime that you can leave a Blood Knight like during the whole night. Because what happens with the Blood Knight, you can actually you can farm with it, but a lot of times you're gonna reach in the morning and the freaking guy is dead. Okay, because every time you are doing damage or you're not doing damage, you're receiving damage, so you can die. So you kind of have to tweak the build in a way to make it yourself tanky enough and heal yourself enough so you don't die. But with the Necromancer, I mean, unless you were like a newbie when it comes to Necromancer, but I never reached in the morning and I was dead as a Necromancer. Like, never happened.
And I honestly would not recommend any of you guys to do that, just because there is a risk that you get banned, and I'm not going to promote that at all on my channel. But yeah, this method.
So Maul, let me hear it again, because Maul was speaking about the third parties.
And I honestly would not recommend any of you guys to do that, just because there is a risk that you get banned, and I'm not going to promote that at all on my channel. But yeah, this method, as far as I know, is completely safe. You're not really doing anything, you're just standing still, not pressing any skills. And this is completely part of the game. So as you can see here, I just about managed to clear all of them. You probably don't want to start as late as me, maybe when there's like 4 minutes on the clock, but this is absolutely fine. And you can see here, I got 12 unbound gems. I've just ended the rift, and I got a bunch of normal gems. If we just take a quick look at the party chat here, you can see just how many gems I got and how many gems my party got. And this is just from one Terror Rift. In my experience, you have to run 3 Terror Rifts to cap your 12 daily gems for the day. So that will take you anywhere.
I mean, 3, not really. Depends on your party, man. If your party in Terror Rifts is actually a bunch of lazy ass people, yes, it will take you probably 2 or 3. I feel like on average, if you are playing with a decent party, you can get in 1 and maybe like 1.5. On average, if I'm doing like with the, usually that's why I do parties with the Immortals, because or like with my clan, because I know they're gonna be stronger. If you're gonna go with randoms, there are people that just gonna AFK in the city, or they are not gonna make their own part of the kills. And so if you just have like in a party of 4 people, you only have 1 guy farming, or you have like 2 or 3 AFKs, and they are like just there for the normal gems, yeah, probably it's gonna take you 2 or 3 times. But if you're gonna go there with a party that, you know, is strong enough and you take it seriously, you are able to knock most of your gems in 1 Terror Rift. So in general, I do 3 dungeons per day. So usually I get like between like 2 or 3 from the dungeons, well, like one per run on average. and then the rest, the other 9 or 10, I get it from one their rifts. It's very rarely the time that I actually go on the second, but I am there. I am killing everyone, so I make sure I'm not like gonna waste another run. But if anything, if I was a necro or something, I'll just sit there and I'm gonna be editing and doing my work and let everyone kill.
Between 30 and 40 minutes to cap, as long as you're in a 4-man party. And if you don't have too much time to play during the day or during the week, and you don't want to fall behind on your secondary gems, then I can definitely recommend you guys to switch over to Necro and try a build out like this. And if anyone from Blizzard is watching this, I'd like to give feedback. If this is intended, which I do think it is because it's been in the game for so long,
of course,
and you're not really doing anything against TOS, you're just using the essence as they're intended. I do think, however, that with Necro being the only class that can do this, it's kind of a little bit unfair. They should extend this passive skill ability to other classes to allow them to also do some kind of autonomous farming. This might actually be a bit of an unpopular opinion.
No. I actually fully disagree on this. I fully disagree on this. Listen, I understand that it is unfair, but so many things in Diablo Immortal are unfair. Pay to win is unfair. You know, being one-shotted by a Crusader is unfair. Crusader doing millions of damage, it is unfair. So life is unfair. Exactly, David. So many things are unfair, and a lot of things should be, in a way, unfair to give you a reason to play a certain specific class. That's the whole purpose. That's literally like... People now are complaining about like a wizard knockback, like the battle mage, you know, whenever you teleport on their asses, they get knock up and you can like chain knock up, and people are saying, oh my god, like this should not be in the game, like this is so OP. Yeah, go try to play that. Go try to play that. It's like only really skilled players actually can perform at the highest level on wizard. Most wizards, I'm not gonna say they are newbies, but probably they are still on a learning curve to figure it out, the class, and understand all the possibilities. But I think that's how it should be. If you take the time and you really go out of your way to perform at that in that level, you should absolutely be rewarded by it, and you should be able to like chain knock them. You know, like you should be able to do that. There is no problem, because most players will not be able to do that.
Because I know that there are two camps. Some people really hate AFK farming because people take spaces in the open world. But if it's used in something like this, in Terror Rifts, which is the only way I've been using this strategy so far, I think that it's completely harmless because, like I said, you're in a separate instance and you're not really messing around with the other players. So just please extend this to other classes. Anyway, that's about everything that I want to share in this video, guys. I'm curious to hear your thoughts and opinions about AFK farming. If you're part of the club that likes AFK farming, what kind of strategies do you like to use?
I agree with most of the things that Mal said here, but yeah, on this I will disagree. I don't think they should bring AFK farming for every single class. I feel like we'll just make things even more annoying and obnoxious on the world. I think like we'll actively promote. I don't see like a positive effect, except for those that like to AFK farm and just don't do it because they are not necromancers.
Use it for. And if you're part of the club that doesn't really like AFK farming, I'm curious to hear your thoughts and opinions as to why. And if players were only to use it in modes where you can enter your own instance like Terror Rifts, would you be against that, or is that fine? Do let me know what you think. But for now, I'm going to be signing off, and I'll...
People that have a problem with AFK farming, it's not really how do they AFK farm. It's not if they are in the instance or they are in the bounties areas. No, they like the major issue is like I am putting the work inside the game. I am spending my time to get stronger and level up and all these things. And there are these assholes that are just standing there and they are getting the same loot and the same rewards as me while not doing anything. That's literally the major issue here. So I feel, and I already gave this feedback, I feel like one of the major issues with AFK farm is because it is super strong, you know, like it actually discourages a lot of players from active playing the game and farming the gear because AFK farming is so strong. Imagine I tell you this, if you actively play for 30 minutes, you're gonna get 10,000 scraps. And if you AFK farm for 30 minutes, you're gonna get 1,000. Some people will say, okay, I can take the 1,000 and it's better than nothing. But it's still the difference. It is 1,000 to 10,000, right? So a lot of people will feel, okay, no, I actually want to play the game. I want to actively play the game because the rewards are like 10x rewards. So if we have this incentive, that we need to incentivize players to actually actively play the game and not incentivize them in the reverse by giving them like opportunities to go on Necro and or Blood Knight or whatever is the class you AFK farm and be almost as efficient as actively farming and playing the game. That's like, in my opinion, where is the core big issue. But either way, great video as always from Maw. You know what? I'm gonna be something really cool. Maw in general does a lot of guides, and he does great guides. By the way, he's a great dude, and I feel like I really liked sometimes whenever he actually brings his opinion on things. And I would love to see I will also love to see more opinions from like audits, like getting out a bit of like the guide bubble and just express themselves a bit more. So I understand more like what are their opinions, what are like what do they think in reality. So I can understand if I'm gonna agree with everything or I'm gonna disagree with something. I'm saying this as a viewer. I feel like I would love to see more content like this. So great video from all. Let me actually just link here the video so you guys can go there and like and subscribe.